Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector, and today's video is going to be my top 50 cards in my collection by value. And there are some people that love these types of videos. I enjoy watching them. There are some people that don't. Some people out there just think this is one giant flex whenever we show our 50 most valuable cards in our collection. I do agree there's some value to doing a video that might just be your 50 favorite cards in your collection, regardless of value. But it'd be hard to pick just 50 to do that for me. But this is something you can quantify. It's something you can figure out. And I enjoy doing it just to draw a line in the sand every year, just to see how over time my collection has changed and grown or fallen or whatever over the last few years. This is my 5th year to do this. I've got my spreadsheet up over here. I'll be referencing that a lot as I go through these cards. But real quick, I will tell you my methodology was basically every December, 1st of December, I go and I look for on VCP, and that's the prices I use. There's a lot of ways to do this that might or might not be more accurate, but as long as I feel like I do it consistently from the same source, then okay. And that's what I did. I've got my 50 cards based on their last sale on VCP. I don't average the sales. I don't, whatever the last sale was, that's what I'm using. Some of the cards actually don't sell that often, so some of them haven't changed at all in a year because they haven't sold in a year. But the breakdown of what I'm going to show you, I usually put up things on the screen and all kinds of, I'm not going to do that this year. I don't have the time, but I still wanted to do this video. So I have 4 cards that were new to the collection this year, so they don't have a comparative price to last year because I didn't own them. And I don't go back and look at what the price was last year. They're just new, and they'll have a comparative price next year. I have 12 cards that were up, actually. So I had 4 cards that were unchanged, and then I have 29 cards that were down in value. And I will point out some of the big ones if I can remember to glance at the spreadsheet as I'm talking about them and talk about that. But, 29 out of the 50 are down, and I don't know if that's a testament of the way of where the hobby's going. Definitely things feel like they're softening in some areas. In other areas, again, I have 13 cards that are up from a year ago in value. So it's really hard I don't know that that's a good litmus test for the health of the hobby market in terms of pricing, but I know I'm having a lot of fun. So if that's a litmus test, then we're doing great. I'm excited. A lot of same old stuff for me. The top 50 doesn't seem to change a ton other than new cards, but there are some surprises in here that I'm going to show you guys. Let's get right to the cards. I've done enough babbling. I'll talk more as I show cards. Hang on, let's go. All right, here we go. Top 50 cards, number 50. 1954 Topps Jackie Robinson in a 4.5. This card was number 41 last year, and it's one of the ones that's down about 16% from last year. Still, this was a card pushing $1,000 during the peak, and I also keep on my spreadsheet kind of the peak price because I love or get depressed looking at, man, if I just sold everything during the peak, that'd have been great. So number 50, Jackie. Ironically, number 49, also a Jackie. This was a card that was number 34 last year, but it's the 56 Topps in a 5, PSA 5. There are a few SGC slabs in here. This card has come down a lot. Like I said, number 34 last year. It's down about a little over 25% from a year ago. Number 48. Roy Campanella, rookie, 1949 Bowman in a PSA 4. This is a great card. Absolutely love it. PSA 4 there. Campy rookie, This is the first appearance of this guy. He will be on this countdown many more times. Mickey Mantle, 1958 in a 3.5. It's a not, this Mantle card feels like it's one not talked about a lot. This one's actually up, you know, barely 3.5% or something like that. Not a big move on this card, but at least it's not down, I guess. Next is number 46. Another second 56 Topps card, second Mantle card overall. This one's down a little bit, about 10%. PSA 2. Number 40 last year. Number 45, another 49 Bowman. Second one of these we've seen. So the Campy rookie, here's his teammate Edwin Duke Snyder in a PSA 2. Bought this a couple years ago from Blue Jacket 66. And it's down a little bit this year. Number 44, another Mantle. This was 32 last year. PSA 5, 62 Topps. This card's down about 20%. Most of the Mantles are down. Like if you were to ask me how the Mantle market's doing from a year ago, I would say it's down. Because almost all of my Mantle cards are down from a year ago. He's still hot in the hobby, but it was very different during that pandemic and all that kind of stuff. We're on to number 43. Another Hall of Fame rookie card, Sanford Koufax, PSA 3. This card's come down certainly quite a bit. I mean, this was $1,250 in December 2021. It's now this sells for about $800, give or take, in this grade. So, I love this card. I'm so glad I picked this up at the National. Dizzy Dean, 1933 Gaudy in a 3. This is card number 42. This is a card that got really expensive. This card's down 33% from a year ago. This was a $1,200 card a year ago. Not anymore, but that's okay. It's okay. This is a new addition to the top 50. This one had not been in the top 50 before. In fact, last year this card was number 56, so it was outside of my top 50, so I didn't show it. 1954 Red Heart Dog Food, Stan Musial. Love this card though. So this is one of those, this card's up 60% since last year. So there's some cards in here that are up big, that are these kind of finally getting appreciated maybe cards, or more demand. You know, people like these. So there you go. Number 41. Starting the next 10. This is my highest graded Mantle, 1964 in a PSA 7. I remember I bought this at a card shop in Wichita, Kansas, and thought I paid up for it. I paid $450 for it years ago, and done pretty well. But this card's down almost 30% from a year ago. So still way more than I paid for it, but down in a year, over the last year. Very popular set in my top 50 because it's a great set, very popular with collectors. People love these, and this is a very high grade, or not very high grade. It's a higher graded Williams, Ted Williams here, 56, number 39 on the countdown. This card is flat basically for the year. It's up 1%, 2%, something like that, nothing big. All right, next up is card number, where are we at? 38. I love this thing. This is totally, but look at that. It's totally a candidate for reslabbing and getting a right frame on this card, because it doesn't do it justice. There's the card. 1932 Sinella Margarine Babe Ruth. This is a type 2. And it's a 4. I remember buying this card, wanting a Ruth like this. I had seen a lot of people buying it. I bought it, God, years ago. $200 I paid for this. And yeah, it's gone up, but it's flat for the year. But card number 38. It's It's affordable Ruth, not cheap, but anymore. But talk about a card that's gotten cheap. Holy crud. 2011 Topps Update, Mike Trout. Gem Mint 10. It's a card that had peaked at number 7 on my list a couple of years ago. It is number 37 now. This card during the peak of the pandemic was a $7,500 card. It's less than $900 now that you can buy a Gem Mint 10. So if you're in the market for a Mike Trout rookie, it might be a good time to pick one up. This card's down just in the last year 37%. And I don't know, I mean, it could go down further, no question. So one of those just bottom falling out of it kind of cards. So if you think from 7,500 to less than 900, it's a pretty precipitous drop. It's a card that I got a year ago or so. It was in last year's deal, and last year this was number 50. This year it's moved up to number 36, and it's up 32% over a year. 1.5 Bob Feller rookie, 38 Gowdy with the scribbles. This was, I think, a Chantilly pickup, if I remember right. This one's beat up pretty bad. And it's hard to, on these lower grades like this, pricing it's so difficult because you could pay up for a really nice 1.5 or pay less for a more beat up one, but that's my version of it. And still love it. Number 35, this is the first new card to the collection I've gotten this year. Christy Mathewson, dark cap, sweet cap rollback, T206, and a PSA 2. Absolutely love it. Starting to get in the pre-war stuff. You just saw the Feller, and there's multiple T206s now in my collection. Such a Pandora's box that I'm so afraid to open because I'll just start going down that rabbit hole. But I'm glad to have that Matty. That's my only playing days Matty card. Number 35, number 34. I have multiple cards from this set. The 49 leaf, Ted Williams. It's a Dallas show purchase. Pour one. This card is, let's see, what's it doing? It's up 30% in a year. That's pretty good. More popular card. Second 33 Gowdy, not the last you'll see today. Hack Wilson and a 4. This is a 300 great cards card, but Hack Wilson, Hall of Famer. This is a card I paid $200 for years and years and years ago. It's down about 20%. And it's moved down from 26 to 33 from a year ago. Another Mantle, 54 Bowman. Number 32 on the list. This is down about 16%. That's the Mantle's down 15 to 25% from a year ago, kind of across the board is what I'm seeing. And but that's a beautiful 3. Love that card. Let's see. Next up, we got now we're into every card from now on is worth over $1,000. The first one is right at 1,000. 1948 Swell Sport Thrills. Most dramatic home run. Gehrig and Ruth. This is from his called shot in the 32 World Series. Love this card. This is a 300 great cards card, but it's got Gehrig on it, Ruth. Yeah, that's pretty neat. From 48. Pretty flat, actually. This card is a card you don't see a ton of, and so it doesn't trade hands a whole lot. Here's the newest card so far. We had the Trout already, yeah. But 67, Tom Seaver, rookie, and a 4.5. I think this was a national purchase one year. Card number 30. This was number 29 last year, so it hasn't changed a whole lot. The value on this is pretty much the same as it was last year. Down very slightly. '52 Bowman, Willie Mays. Yeah, this is a new card into the collection. Got this year. Finished my maze run, other than I still need the 52 tops. So I guess it didn't really finish the maze run. It got me closer to finishing. It's one of those pickups that I just loved. I paid more for it than it's worth today. It's down about 10% from what I paid for it. But it's a forever card anyway. I didn't gotta do it sometimes. That's what it is. Number 28. 48 Bowman Stan Musial rookie in a 4. Let's see, where's that last year? It was number 18, so it's dropped all the way to 28. This card's down about 30% from a year ago. Again, these cards, I'm telling you, they're down. If it's something you've ever wanted, you might start looking again. If you kind of gave up on it because you were priced out, you might not be anymore. So revisit this stuff. This is another new pickup this year, 53 Topps Willie Mays. I got this back in February at the Burbank show, a deal I did with Ashish. If y'all know who Ashish is, he's an amazing dealer. He's got just, his table is, you know, we'd all aspire to have something like that. But this, actually the card's up from when it's up about 10%. The other maze was down about 10%. That's kind of how it goes, you know. Sometimes you make a good deal, sometimes you maybe buy a little early. It all washes out. It all works out. But love having the 53 Topps maze. Love it. It's my kind of card now. That very nice for the grade. This was a Dallas show purchase. Another 54 Bowman. Ted Williams. Oh, look at that. That's a 1.5, guys. that's a 1.5. It's card number 26. Last year it was number 44. So both of the Williams cards I've shown have been up. This one's up 60% from a year ago. This was an $800 card a year ago. It's now a $1,300 card. And I don't know if, and this one's even like, this is such a good looking 1.5. It's almost like there's a paper clip mark that you have to really try hard to see. I'm not doing a good job showing it to you, but that's why this is a 1.5. But that's, oof, love that card. All right, number 25. So we're halfway through. On to number 25 here. 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle, last name in white, which is the variation. Normally the last name is in yellow. I remember buying this card for $300 at Mikey Mantle's up in MM7 Sports up in Oklahoma City area, Moore, Oklahoma, technically. And it was kind of an impulse. Like I couldn't believe. I was like, yeah, I'll buy that for $300 when he said it. And again, one of those I've owned for a while now, but glad I do. This card's down slightly, like 4% over the last year. Kind of one of those rare mantles that does well. Here's a card that's gone up quite a bit. Number 24 is the Wilson Franks Roy Campanella. Everybody loves hot dogs on their cards. Why wouldn't you? This was number 35 last year. This was a card that for a while it had gone down a little bit, but it's up 40% in the last year. And it's now a comma card. So about $1,300, $1,400. And another card you just don't see sell a lot. There's just so awesome. Campy Wilson Franks. Next up, 1940 Play Ball Joey D. Number 23. This was number 16 last year, so it's kind of fallen off a little bit. It is down 32%, so a third. You know, I don't really care. It's just interesting to kind of track it, but I love the 40 Play Ball set. I have this whole Hall of Fame run. There are a ton of Hall of Famers in this set, and you'll see another one here shortly from that set. Joey D is not the most expensive one that I have. Next up, another national purchase, 2018, I believe. Ernie Banks, 1954 Topps in a 4. So hard because of the top. It's usually so hard to get centered. That top border is usually missing like it is on mine. Not unusual. This is card number 22. Was 20 last year. And this card's down about 10%, 11% from a year ago. Thanks, Ricky. Next up, 49 leaf Stan Musial. You already saw the 48 Bowman earlier. Now we've got this one, number 21. It was 30 last year. And yeah, it's a card that's up quite a bit from last year, about 40% from last year. Ironically, it's still below what I paid for it because I just loved it and I wanted it. I wanted the color to be right. The blues can be so many different shades and so many hues of blue. I really loved this one, and I paid to get it for sure. Here's the second, I believe, T206 SGC2 Sweet Cap Cy Young. This is a 300 Great Cards card, and I didn't have any Cy Youngs. Like, there's a whole lot of reasons. I ended up buying this from Chris Sewell and Jeremy. This one was, this is in my first SGC slab. I showed another one earlier. This one's up. This is a new one to the collection, but it's up a little bit since I bought it from what I paid, but it makes its debut at number 20 in the collection. On to number 19, into the high teens. This card's been in the high teens ever since I started doing this. I've had this card a really long time. You can tell by the flip. PSA 5, 53 tops. Satchel Paige. It's been a card that's been all over the place. It's down, though, about 22% from a year ago. It's kind of been all over the place. At the height of the pandemic, this was a card. Let's see, how much was it back then? It's down about 50% from then, from the peak, which I would say a lot of cards probably are. If you looked at them, and even in kind of any grade, you'd kind of probably see a 50 to 75% drop from the peak, you know, but still up from where they were. I mean, I bought this card so long ago, but I paid $250 for it a long time ago, and just so glad I did when I did. There's that. Let's see, another 53, but it's a Bowman color. Mickey Mantle. This was a national purchase. Needing to finish off 53 Bowman color. This is number 18, was 24 last year. This is actually a Mantle card that's up, which is, again, unusual. About 18%, so close to 20% increase from a year ago. But that gorgeous Mantle card. Told you we're going to see another 40 play ball, and there you go. Ted Williams. This one's a 3. So let's see, what was the DiMaggio was a 3. So same grade. Williams is just more expensive. So there you go. That just kind of the old is what it is. This is number 17 on the list. Last year was 21. This is a card that's basically flat from a year ago. Another 49 leaf. This is the Ruth. Shout out to Josh, Rated Rookie. He and I both have these. We bought them within a day of each other at the Dallas show. He bought one, I bought one. I think we bought the only two in the whole room between us. He threatened to buy this one if I didn't, so I couldn't let him do that. So I ended up buying it, and so glad I did. Great card of the Bambino. This card's fallen off quite a bit. I mean, this card was the 7 last year, number 16 this year. This card's down 42% from a year ago, but still above what I paid for it, but barely. Yeah, this is definitely a kind of height of the pandemic kind of purchase. Next up, Jackie Robinson, 1953 tops. Lots of Jackies in this. His stuff's very popular, as it should be. Number 15 on the list this year. It's another card, though, that's down 31% since last year. So Jackies have gotten cheap again. You know, but they weren't, nothing was sustainable the way it was. So it's not like you can even be upset. It was on a meteoric rise that was just silly. How about this Ted Williams 41? Play ball, you just saw the 40 a couple of cards ago. Now here's the 41. Number 14 on the list. It's a card that's actually gone up a little over 10% in the last year. So Williams, you know, kind of some of the quirky stuff. But Jackie, there's another Jackie, 1950 Bowman. Not so much. Let's see, this is number 13. This card's down 12% from a year ago. But love this. Bought this raw, graded it myself. Got the 2.5, exactly what I expected it to get. And so glad to have that. Next up, 53, another 53 Topps. Now you're starting to see some big boy cards. These are all cards worth over $2,000 now. The Jackie, and this one starts that run. 53 Topps, number 12. This card's down about 20% from a year ago. Let's see, is it still? Yeah, it's still barely above what I paid for it, but you know, I don't care. Again, I don't care. Just a fact, not anything other than look at that gorgeous 1.5. There's a crease in it, but that's why it got a 1.5. No biggie. Every year I thank Filmington for selling me this card a number of years ago at the National. Roberto Clemente, rookie in a 4. This is card number 11. It was number 5 last year. This card is down about almost 30% from a year ago. So Clemente rookies have come down a little bit. All right, here's another card I picked up raw and graded myself. 34 Gaudy Lou Gehrig. Knew it wouldn't grade high, did not care. Just adding to the Gehrig collection. We're into the top 10, guys. This is number 10. And pretty flat. This is a card that hasn't changed a lot in the last year. 1.5s, I don't think sell a ton. So these half grades. But yep, there's another Gehrig. You'll see him again here shortly. Another card I bought raw and graded myself. Maybe I should do that more often. Maybe I'm learning something as I'm doing this. Walter Johnson, Wajo portrait, T206. Number 9 in my collection. Absolutely love it. This card's basically flat. It's these old T206s of these greats like this is a just popular card. It doesn't move a whole lot. It doesn't go down a whole lot. That's what I have seen. Where are we at? Number 8. 1935 Gaudy, 4-in-1. Babe Ruth, McManus, Brandt, and then Rabbit Moranville, another Hall of Famer down here. Boston Braves, this is, I think, his last card. Glad to get I got this a long time ago at the National, and it's up about 10%. So Ruth stuff's doing well, doing all right. Another National purchase. I pick up a lot of big cards at the National. Y'all see it when I watch my National videos. That's just a great time to pick up big cards. You know, you save up for it. It's a big event. It's a experience, and you want to have memories of those experiences. And buying key cards in your collection is one way to, you know, lock in those memories. And buying this Eric and I must have looked at 100 if we looked at 1, and I ended up settling on this 3. Just kind of the great ratio of price to grade when I bought it. This card is number 7 this year, and it's actually down a little bit. Not much, less than 10%. Here's a card that I put in here. It's so hard to price. 2012 Topps Heritage Bryce Harper. I genuinely don't know what this would sell for. I know what the last one sold for, which is kind of how I do this, and it's about $3,000. At one point, I'd put this up for sale on eBay, and I got offers of $4,000, and I didn't sell it. So I don't think it's worth that now by any stretch, but it's a very rare Harper. You say, well, how rare? Well, there were only 1,000 of these sets made. This was a box only, online only set. I happened to buy one back in 2012. I pulled the Harper out, sent it in, it got a 10. I think when I submitted it, Mine was like the 35th 10. I think there's 37 of them now or something. So it's a very low pop, popular set, Topps Heritage. Harper, I graded the Trout as well. I have that graded from that set. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to price. I got it at $2,900. That's what the last one sold for, but one hasn't sold in literally years. So I literally have grading costs into this, so it's no big deal at all to have that. You know, whatever the price is, I'm okay because I literally found it. JT and I were looking and found it and sent it in, so no biggie there. Hard to know though. So it's number 6. Number 5 is the 52 Bowman Mickey Mantle. This was a Dallas show purchase a couple years ago or something. Just keeping, I can't have the 52 Topps yet, but I have the 52 Bowman Mantle. This card's number 5 on my list. And it's up, actually, over the last year. Rare for my mantles to be up about 25%. So, beautiful 3 there. The first big vintage card I ever bought was this one. The first one I paid, like, for the longest time, this was the most I ever paid for a card. And it was, you know, less than $700 when I bought it. But this is card number 4 on my list. Lou Gehrig, 33 Goudey. Absolutely awesome. Down about 9% from a year ago. This card's been in my top 5 pretty much since I've owned it of cards. And I think it'll stay there for a while. Glad that I own that one. Top 3 now. Here we go. 3 awesome rookie cards are going to finish this off. Start with the Satchel Paige. This was a national purchase, I think Atlantic City. PSA 3, 49 Bowman. All the centering, you know, centering's tough on these. I should say they're not all badly centered, but centering's tough. And for me, the registration and color is what really matters. And because of the centering, I was able to get this for a much better deal than a nicely centered 3. So that's what made me pull the trigger on this one. And it's basically flat over the last year. The Satch Rookie, probably not a card that's going to move a whole lot. Always going to be demand for this card. And yeah, I love it. Oh, here we go. Willie Mays, rookie, 1951 Bowman, PSA 2, but this was a national purchase, 19, I guess, 2019, I think, maybe. I remember when I bought this card, I had Andrew Enough Said Cards with me, and I called him actually, hey, come talk me out of buying this, and he didn't. He talked me into buying it because it was very expensive at the time, but it's up, you know, it's flat for the year. Ironically, this card sells a lot, but it literally sold this year it had an auction that ended at the exact same price as with the one I looked at and used a year ago, which is weird because it's not like a flat price. It's like kind of a weird price, and just happened to have 2 auctions that finished at the same price. Love having the Mays rookie, and this is a very nice presenting 2. And then the Big Daddy. You guys know what's coming if you've seen these before. This card, number 1's not going to change probably ever. I don't know. I mean, hard to imagine having a bigger card than this in my collection. Maybe if I buy a 52 Topps Mantle, but the PSA 5 Mickey Mantle rookie, just absolutely gorgeous. You know, this is a card that's come down quite a bit. I mean, it's down 15% from a year ago. It's down 60% from the high, from the peak. I mean, this card was once worth, or it sold for 55 grand, and it is not that anymore. It's under half of that. It's 24,000. So still an amazing card, like big boy card, right? But that's the one. Like if I had my favorite cards, like this would be probably number 1, number 2 maybe. If I did a top 50 video and just showed my favorite cards, and I just love this Mantle card. I really do. That's why I went for such a high grade. That's why I was willing to pay for it. You know, all those things, because I loved it so much. It wasn't a money thing. It was a love the card thing. And yeah. So that is it, guys. That is my top 50 for 2023. Thanks everybody for watching. Let me know what you think down below. We'll catch you guys soon. Keep collecting.